Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope your Monday is going well. With me, as always, my co-host Bill Skywatcher.
What's happening, Toby? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'd like to get online here in a little bit and see the reactions to the new documentary, The Age of Disclosure, just premiered yesterday at South by Southwest. So, obviously, we couldn't attend. So, anybody that's got a take on it, feel free to comment on this post, on this stream, and let us know what you thought about it if you were at the premiere.
34, I believe, high-ranking officials are involved in this project, plus Lou Elizondo's a big part of this doc as well. The only thing, and I know there was a post on X a few days ago, if you can put that up there, that he released. Friends, by now you're probably aware of the upcoming documentary Age of Disclosure. This secret project has taken over 2.5 exhaustive years to complete, and I am proud to have played a major role in its development. I believe it has the potential to change the UAP conversation irrevocably. The director is Dan Farah, the producer of Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. I am also proud to be joined by many senior officials, many of whom risked everything to tell you the truth, to include their political careers, their professional reputations, and even their safety. This documentary was intended to be the definitive centerpiece to help drive disclosure in a way like never before. It has been a roller coaster for all of us. So this is a doc with all these people coming forward. Is this a potential setup for a future UAP hearing with some of these individuals partaking in that? What do you think?
I mean, it's entirely possible. Like you said, this thing's been in the works for 2.5 years. Dan Farrow's a pretty well-known Hollywood producer, so they're kind of upping the level on this one some. It should be interesting, especially with the new task force on declassification and transparency, looking to hold UAP hearings within the next few months. This, like you said, it could be a segue into this. This could be a way of saying, hey, look, here's all these current and former senior officials, government, military, that say they've seen these things are real. Bring them in, have them testify.
Another thing is, this could also set a precedent as far as dealing directly with an administration, the current administration, the Trump administration, because a few weeks ago, we were talking about it when Donald Trump Jr. had his show and he had Ross Coulthart and Lou Elizondo on. And they were pressing, especially Ross was pressing Donald Trump Jr. say, well, can you mention this to your dad? Like trying to make points. But Lou Elizondo also is involved with this. And I think that Donald Trump Jr. is definitely interested, and he definitely has his dad's ear when it comes to this. So this package could be presented to the administration. I'm sure actually that they actually have seen a screening of this. So is this also showing them, look, these are the people that are involved, and they're coming forward. They just made this film and risked everything that Lou mentioned in that tweet. So again, could this be a starting point on moving this forward with more transparency and see how the administration responds to it?
Excuse me. Yeah, it's very much possible. What I think is interesting in the trailer, someone who we haven't heard a lot from is Jay Stratton. And he makes I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know exactly, but he says, I've seen myself NHI craft and NHI bodies. So right there you have, if all that's true, that's firsthand testimony. And that's what these reps are saying they want this time. I mean, if he gets up there and says that under oath, he used to run OSAP, I think, and ATIP. So
the only thing is, like, when you watch a documentary, you'll see a lot of reenactments. I think the public in general, are waiting. Okay, you made this documentary. You have all these people speaking up. Been there, done that, seen that, heard this from other people that have testified. We need real, clear evidence, documents, images, video, etc. I hope, because like you said, we weren't privy to be there on the premiere yesterday. I hope that they put something in this documentary that separates it as a standalone from all the previous documentaries that were great. You know, the things that James Fox done, so many others, great documentaries. But how is this one, despite having 34 high-ranking officials involved with it, how does it separate from the others? What is this one going to say? Like, people, wow, this is incredible. Yeah, it's incredible by hearing all the testimony from all these different individuals. But is there anything new there for the public to say, okay, this is game changer? That's the thing. Is it a game changer? Now, like you just mentioned, this is firsthand accounts by people that were involved, possibly. We have not seen it. That's one thing. Like I said, the next step is to have a congressional hearing and have them testify under oath the same things that they mention or related to what they're mentioning in this documentary. But please, because Lou said it at a hearing, there is documentation out there that can be declassified and released to the public. I just hope that this is a bridge that gets us further to getting out real evidence, period.
Well, and I think everything you just said shows you have your pulse on the UFO. You have the pulse of the UFO community. You know what I mean? Because you get online and you read, and I'm going to tell you 75% of the comments, if not more, are, that's all great. We've been told this before. Is there going to be any evidence in this thing? Is there going to be the high definition footage you guys keep talking about? Are you going to have new declassified documents? You know, what's going to be in this thing that makes it proof? And I don't want to harp on this too much, but I think a lot of what got this whole community kind of ruffled up or got their feathers ruffled was the whole Jake Barber News Nation thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You promoted it as definitive, 100% definitive proof. And while interesting testimony, a video of an egg-shaped object being lifted is not what people consider definitive.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's kind of, I wouldn't say soured people on this whole thing, but I think it's kind of raised the bar even more, where they're tired of hearing, look, this is going to blow the doors wide open. This is it. We're getting disclosure. This is the step forward. That's cool. If you're going to say all those things, then just deliver. That's it. Like you said, the testimony, amazing, awesome. We need it. We need congressional hearings. We need all of that. But where's your documentation? Where's your audio visual evidence? That's what people really want to move the needle, I feel like.
Okay. Let's just go back to what you mentioned a couple of minutes ago. There's the UFO, UAP community that is very involved in this topic. But then you also have people in the general public that are interested in it. They have developed a definite interest, has gone up throughout the whole country, throughout the whole world. But when you come out with stuff, your credibility's on the line. And people, I'm just saying in general, there's a short attention span thing. They'll go to the next thing to concentrate on. If you don't present something that is just outright credible, definitive, when you have something like that come out, people are like, oh, some people will think it's a joke. I think it's more negative response than positive in general. Of course, the UFO communities, they've been researching, they've been interested in a long time, like us. But the general public, they might say, well, you know, like the comments that were out after that was broadcasted, it looks like an egg. It looks like, you know, all the stuff started coming out. So that does, I think, more of a detriment than good. You have to come out with consistent evidentiary documents, video, photos, because when you come up with something like that, people say, oh, what is that? What is that supposed to be? That could be anything. Especially like you said, when they build it up. So moving forward, I just hope they're more cautious and careful on putting stuff out there and deeming it like, this is a breakthrough, this is the one, when really it's a nothing burger.
Yeah, I mean,
his testimony was interesting, though, Toby. I mean, it was. I am not discounting what Jake Barber discussed and was involved with. It's just that when you present it that way and it's not definitive, there's a lot of questions about the helicopter, the wash, so much questions that doesn't even count the object itself, but just the operation of that helicopter at the time. There's so many questions about it, but we need better than that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of what bothered people too was that video wasn't even from Barber. It was from some other source that Ross had. So that, I don't know. It was, like you said, this community is tired of, I would say, over-promising and under-delivering. And I'm not accusing this new documentary of doing that. I'm just saying you got to be careful, because every time a new documentary comes out, people get hyped up that are, like you said, they're in the community, they study this stuff, and to them, there's nothing really new in it. And then you hear people say, well, this is for the general public. This isn't for you.
Exactly.
And you people that are into UFOs are like, well, when's the stuff for us coming? You know what I mean? Like, the general public, they've been shown this and that. They're interested now, so let's bring out the big guns.
Yeah.
Where's the goods?
So that's the frustration. We want more. For the general public to watch it, like I said, it's about getting their interest and curiosity. But for how long can you hold that? How long can you hold it before they turn to something else? Oh, that was interesting. They watched it. Wow. But then they move on to something else. But if it's something that really, really is evidentiary and is tangible, as credible, they'll be like, okay, whoa, what's going on? Now I really need to pay attention to what's going on, because this is some serious stuff that I just watched. That's what we need. We need something that really garners the attention of the public at whole, whether it's here or around the world. Let's see where this goes. Now, like you said, you have a well-esteemed person that helped make this film, a Hollywood producer, director. You have 34 high levels of witnesses, and you have, of course, Luis Elizondo involved. I am really curious to see what this documentary is all about, what they say. But again, I hope that it's just not people being interviewed with reenactments of what they're saying occurred, because that's not evidence. That's just a reenactment. I just hope that we see something more tangible, like I keep saying, more something that's solid evidence, even if it's just documents, Toby, because I doubt we're going to see video. I doubt we're going to see images. Maybe we will. Maybe I'll be surprised, pleasantly surprised. But we need something. I mean, this is just, and even at the hearings, Toby, we need something more than people just talking and saying, well, I've seen this, I've heard this, that, I've seen documents. Yes, they exist. Well, show us.
And that's the frustrating part, right?
It is.
I can tell you, but it'll have to be in a skiff. Well, then, guess what, public? You're not getting to find out what they talked about.
And not to get it too, like, because you know me, I try not to stray off course a little bit. But if this whole agency, Doge, wants to really dip into some money and try to uncover, please dip into the Department of Energy and the SAP programs. And why don't we audit some of these contractors, the corporations, aerospace companies, and see where the money is? You want to talk about money? That's where the money is. When that comes up, I'm going to be real curious if it comes up that they're starting to look at the military agencies and alphabets to see where the money and the funding is coming from and how much they can find. And that's when I'm going to be curious about that aspect. I don't know what your thought is on that.
I think one word you put in there is very important, and that's the word if.
If. Oh, yeah.
I was talking to a friend the other day about this, and, this digging around looking for government misappropriation and everything, that's fine and dandy. But when you start getting to, say, the CIA, the DOE, the DOD, you think there's going to be no resistance? You think the people inside these different departments are going to be happy about this? It's not a job I would want to be looking into these people. It's not a job I would want. I'll put it to you that way.
Oh, heck no. And again, you're talking a lot of money and where that money's going to. Who's part of that whole? That's the can of worms I want to see happen in the future. Hopefully, if it happens, that would be interesting. So what else is going on? Anything new? What's going on in Roswell?
Yeah. In Roswell? No, not much new here. No. We've got some interesting things happening on our investigation. Obviously, I can't talk about it, not to be one of those people, but I have a feeling there will be another documentary coming out later this year that might have some of the proof people are looking for. But just call it a guess at this point.
I ain't saying nothing either, but this one could be significantly important historically on the record. I'll say it like that. That's the biggest hint I can give, but this could be big. And we don't go over, we stay level-headed and we don't go beyond. But the potential of the information that may be contained in this documentary is going to be like, wow, finally.
And there's a few other things I'm working on, and I'll give our audience an exclusive sneak peek at some of this right now. We're always talking about physical evidence. So right now, you guys can see that I have in my possession multiple samples of angel hair.
Where'd you get that from? You're not going to say, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. Well, I will say there's a pretty big effort going on right now to preserve a lot of this stuff. And I'd like to give a shout out to David Marler, the National UFO Historic Record Center in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. I've made a couple of visits up there recently.
He's awesome.
He is amazing. And to me, people that want to put money into this topic, that's my first place my money would go. They're using these historic cases, documents, physical samples, not just to educate the public, but to educate the youth. They've actually partnered with the school system there, and they're using these cases to help stir interest in children in STEM topics. So to me, it's just such a cool project, using something that we're all real passionate about to teach future generations to be interested in things like science, technology, math.
It's also forensic.
Yep.
And now that you put that on the screen, I must ask, has that been tested?
So that's one of the things being set up right now. Another thing I haven't really shown too often, I'm not sure if I've shown the specific piece, but here is something that is in the process of being tested for our audience to check out.
I know what that is.
Yeah, you do. So this has been run through a lab through multiple tests already. And one thing that I want to offer up is the projects that I'm working in and involved in. One of the top things we're standing on is transparency. So once everything's run through the proper channels, we've had enough testing done and everything on it, the data we receive from these laboratories will be made public. I feel like that's one of the most important things. Is I know there's a lot of private collectors that have samples and specimens that are just locked away. I think if we're going to further this topic, we need to
unlock.
Let's get this stuff out in the open. You know what I mean? Like I have these things, some that I've been given, some that I've actually uncovered in the field. And my whole thing is I'm passionate about this topic. I want to get everything tested and put the results out and let it be what it's going to be. If it turns out it's a piece of a tin can someone sent me, fine. Call it what it is.
Which it's an uncommon alloy. It is not a tin can, or a lid of a can.
Well, yeah, but just just to be an example of it. I think that's really.
But it has been tested numerous times, and so far, and it's coming up as an uncommon alloy. And also, the issue is there is a certain database that you have access to cross-reference it with, but then the military also has a database where you can't cross-reference it with that, can you?
Yeah, last time I checked, I do not have access to military databases.
Because, they're always working on experimental properties or space, obviously. Aerospace industries are working on properties of developing new types of materials. But this was found in the middle of, not nowhere, but, it's in the middle of a desert area, let's just say. So I don't think aerospace was doing any recent testing there that something exploded or caused this debris to rain down from the sky. You know what I mean? So this had to be there for quite some time. And if it's uncommon, then it's something else. Because let me ask you it this way. How frequently is that area that we're talking about been active with either military or civilian use where things like that would pop up that you would discover? Not often, right?
I can only think of one.
Uh-huh.
I can only think of one.
So that piece of metal, let me ask a question on this. Has it been dated?
No. Like I said, it's still, the testing isn't cheap.
I know.
But we're getting it done. It's taken longer than we'd like, but there's still some answers we need to get before we put everything out. But I promise you, I'm not going to be one of those people that says, well, go research it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Go do your own testing. When I've got results that I think will lead to an answer of what it could be, I'm going to put it out and I'm going to tell everybody, come look at these results. Come analyze it. Tell me what this is. I'm not a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a metallurgist. And to me, that's part of the fun. That's part of the journey, right? You go, you do the field work. You get strange things sent to you. You want to know what it is. I mean, your hope of hopes is that, hey, this is a piece of a UFO, right? Like, that's the dream. Everybody, hey, I just got sent a piece of a UFO. Oh, my God. Well, got to prove it.
I'll just play a little inside joke between you and I. As long as they don't send me a video of something, then I'm going to have to go into hiding for the rest of my life or find somewhere to retreat to. I don't need no men in black or anything else showing up at my front doors or whatever. You know what I mean? There's also a boundary on what we can and cannot do. But see what you're doing and show it on the screen. That is evidence potentially of something extraordinary. Like you said, it's got to be tested and we'll see how it plays out. But at least we're seeing something, a sample from just ordinary folk. Where is the government presenting anything? Nada, zero, nothing. So like you said, there are people out there that are private collectors and have stuff. Please come forward and put it in front of the public. I mean, even if it's just a sample, show us, because I think the society has a major role in the potential for disclosure. I think it's going to be a movement by the public rather than the dependency of the government and the government's role. Because if it's up to them, it ain't happening. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and I know for a fact I've seen pictures and video of some of these things that are in private collections, and it's a shame. It's a shame that people can't see this. One of the more controversial cases in the past 7 years, I would say, is the tridactyl mummies from Peru, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's other bodies like these in other countries that are in the hands of private collectors that didn't come from Peru. So what does that tell you? And I would like to point out, my friend Gonzalo Chavez has designed a website, which I put the link for everybody to check out, tridactyls.org. Speaking of evidence,
I'm going to share the screen before you continue on that thought so everybody could actually see it right now. So this is what you're talking about right here.
However you feel about the case, I think it's interesting. I have no clue whether it's legit or not. I'm leaning towards at least the larger bodies being legitimate, not claiming it's alien, but you can go on this website now and actually request access to the DICOM files.
Wow.
And for people that don't know what that is, you're looking at it right now. The DICOMs is basically they take, my understanding of it is just images like in slices. So you can actually go through the whole thing. So there's software you can get on that lets you examine the inside of these bodies to look for signs of manipulation.
They definitely look humanoid. I mean, at least the ones I'm looking at. I don't see anything. Have you noticed anything peculiar with these images? Some of them?
No, I mean, look there at the bottom. There's pictures of their actual fingerprints.
Wow.
That's pretty wild. I mean,
that is super interesting, dude.
And I hate to say it, but I think a lot of the reason that case isn't gaining traction the way it should be is the way it's been presented.
And also maybe certain individuals involved.
Exactly. And I'm not
either.
I'm not speaking bad about anybody. I'm just saying I think the process of how it's been handled is bad. But think about that. I've seen evidence myself. There are private collectors in Mexico and other places that have bodies with the exact same traits that came from those countries and not Peru.
So it was something that was going on throughout South America, is what you're telling me.
I mean, you dive into history, Native American.
Dude, you hear stories here of giant skeletal remains found in mounds, and all of a sudden they disappear.
Yeah, especially, I think we've talked about this on the show before. The early 1900s in journalism was such an interesting, wild time because newspapers back then were trying to make sales, right? So some of them would publish accounts of things that aren't true, but some of them published stories about exactly what you talked about. And they're well documented in some cases, bodies much taller than a normal person. Skeletal remains found, the Smithsonian or whoever comes in. This is the real deal, everybody. We're taking it, and then they take it, and then we were never there.
And you don't hear about it anymore.
No.
It's just like it disappeared into Warehouse 13.
Yeah, right.
It's forever buried with everything else that they have.
Down in the Vatican somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, there too. That's another whole story. But yes, it'd be really important for private collectors to give access at some point. It doesn't have to leave their homes or wherever they have it locked up and secured. Just allow people to get access to it, to do maybe a sample testing if they allow it, whatever. Just put it out there. The more, the better. Like I said, it's important.
What's the point of having it? What's the point of having it in your home where you can look at it and you can show it to friends? That's cool and everything. But like you said, let a group, certified scientists, whatever, come in. Let them take a sample. It doesn't cost you your thing. And I think the problem is a lot of these were probably illegally obtained, but I'm sure there's some out there that were obtained by legitimate means, whether it's people found them. And I'm talking about, you see reports of this slag type substance coming off of UAPs. You have things like the Bob White object that are out there that can be tested, have been tested. I want to see more of that. So as a matter of fact, right now, I'll make a challenge. If you have something that you think is somehow anomalous, whether it be a piece of possibly a craft, a mummy, whatever.
Even a meteorite could have strange properties.
Anything. I challenge you to contact us. Contact me and Bill, Drop us a line in the comments, and I'm willing to help you look into seeing what this thing is. There are people out there that are willing to help pay for testing on this type of stuff. So let's do ourselves and this community a favor, and let's start pressuring those from within to come forward. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but Gary Nolan has that briefcase full of all these samples. You've tested them. What's the results? Release it.
Exactly. Bring it out to the public. Get it out there. Or maybe they're doing the same thing like in a similar situation that you're in. They want further testing. They want to make sure before they release anything that they've got all the data, that it's been tested across the board before they come out, because somebody else could say, well, you know what? It's not what you claim it is, because they did a test to prove that it's otherwise. So in a situation like that, I'm sure they're very careful. Just similar to like what you're doing, getting all the stuff tested. But you mentioned about private collectors. Remember, when ISIS was rampaging the Middle East and destroying historical record, really, there were a lot of private collectors going in and swiping in a lot of ancient artifacts. So that's an example similar. Like you said, may not have been obtained legally. It was sold by people that were there, on a black market type of deal. So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff out there in general that, like, let's bring it out. Please bring it out to the public.
Yeah, I'd really like to see. Who knows? Maybe the infamous I-beam from Roswell with the inscriptions, is sitting on somebody's desk in a little case, and they're.
But it had to be generations handed down now.
And you hear stories. here. My research partner, Paul Simonias, and I, which he runs Roswell UFO tours. Anybody that comes to Roswell, be sure to take the tour. He does an amazing job. We have people, him more often than I, coming up and saying, hey, you want to hear a funny story? And we get told these things by people that are involved in the topic. Hey, we were down in Roswell, and a guy came up to us at a convention and said, hey, you want to hear a funny story? Our family uses a piece of the metal from that crash as a bookmark. We keep it in the library that we have at our house. And then you're just like, what? So who knows? Like Paul always says, the definitive proof in all this could be in a diary, a great-grandmother's diary, documenting they saw this and that. There could be pieces of this stuff. I'm of the personal belief there's still pieces here in town of whatever crashed in 1947. And that's been the rumor for a long time, but I think if not here, then maybe at least in Corona. And who knows? I mean, like I said, it could be. I've heard stories of someone finding something after weird sightings and using it as a doorstop for generations, and then it just disappears. Like, you never know.
It's funny you say that, because we also hear of instances where someone sadly passes away who might have been in the military, or the spouse of, or the sibling, whatever. And in their, whatever they had, and people go to go through it, sort through it, they discover stuff, photos, like you said, diaries, whatever. So yes, it can still occur, rummaging through a person's personal, stuff. And you never know what's out there that could be uncovered. It could be locked away in a storage facility. They boxed it all up and put it away. Who knows?
Here's an interesting story. I don't know if I've told this on here before, but there was a paranormal show that was doing a tour, and I went and met with the hosts of it, and they, exactly what you're saying, they said, hey, we have people that contact us that buy these storage lockers and stuff. And if they find anything might be paranormal in it, they call us, we pay them a finder's fee, and we go get it. Guy gets a call out of California. Someone bought a storage unit, and there's a bunch of Area 51 research.
Wow.
I won't use any names, but it's someone most people that have researched Area 51 would know of that has passed away. And so the guy goes and he gets the collection, and he's looking through it, and he's like, I kid you not, I come across an envelope that's marked UFO parts. And he says in it there's weird pieces of metal, and there was a weird piece of black metal that when they would put near a compass, it would cause it to just start spinning out of control, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we're going to get it tested. And that was the last I heard of it. So that's
How long ago? How long ago was this?
This would have been, I want to say almost 2 years ago.
Oh, so this is pretty recent.
Pretty recent, yeah. And I'm not going to put their names out there just because.
Mm-hmm. But still, that's a great example of even that recent, 2 years ago, that something like that was discovered in an envelope in a story.
I mean, I'm in a group chat right now where this guy has found what he thinks, and we did an episode on this actually, the interstellar rock.
Yes.
Where they think these microorganisms are living on this thing. So,
any development? Have you heard anything about that? Any follow up on that?
There's a lot of scientists attached to studying that thing now, and it will be going to another country, to another laboratory to be going.
So they have agreed to do that, to send it out.
Yes. So I'm hoping sometime in the next few months, you and I will have to get, Pavel back on and Gonzalo, but to do an update on it, because if nothing else, cases like that fascinate me, because, that's kind of like why a lot of us got into this, is the love of mystery, right? To think that there's still unknowns out there. If you think everything in the world is known, then it's no fun.
And seeking the truth.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. If there is a rational, logical explanation to stuff, obviously a lot of it is military related, high, tech, futuristic tech, because, the stuff that we see today has been in development for decades. It's the stuff that they're working on now for the future that we don't have access to, that we will in a couple of decades, maybe. But that's where it's really interesting. What's out there that they have, and they're not going to reveal it. They're just not going to reveal it. It's national security, Toby, and I'm sure they probably do. They've collected, and there's so many stories. This. There's so many stories out there of encounters with crash retrieval craft and all that other stuff, and the battles that go on between agencies. And I'm gonna stop right there. But what I'm referring to. There's a lot going on. There's a clash out there, especially civil, private contractors, and the military. Part of it.
Well, I've often said, and I firmly believe this topic on the level above us is fueled by money. Mm-hmm. Because military gets their hands on exotic technology, the first thing they're going to try and do is weaponize it.
Absolutely.
And, and that's not just our country, that's any country.
But here's another thing, eminent domain. I'm just going to be hypothetical here. If I was a private company and I'm involved in tech, futuristic tech, research, development, etc., if I get word that something's happening, I'm going to rush my team out there because now I own that. Maybe in the past, the military was working, and probably now, I'm just speculating, working alongside with aerospace companies, similar to how we contract out to SpaceX and other private companies to do space exploration and development. Well, maybe they're saying, we don't want a partnership anymore with the military or branches of government. We want this for our own. So now there's a competition between the private sector and the government sector to retrieve and get that for themselves. So the race is on to me. I'm just saying that could be what's going on.
I mean, yeah.
Anybody can speculate, but just think then if they say all that research that you've been working on, that we helped gather that stuff and hand it to you to work on it, we want it back. But they don't have to do that necessarily if they go out and find it on their own, do they?
True.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, if you remember, was it the UAP Disclosure Act or whatever? They tried to put in Schumer in them. It had a piece on eminent domain, and that caused a lot of problems. I know some of the people involved with, say, Skinwalker Ranch were like, no, this is not okay.
I don't think it's okay either. That's the government overstepping and trying to take control and possession of everything that the private sector works on. That's a line that cannot be crossed. You cannot do that. You just can't walk into somebody and say, well, listen, that's ours. We want that research. We're taking it. No. That's crossing a line. So because you know what it is? They're so frustrated of lack of access, lack of answers. So they're just trying to pull any stunt to try to get access any way they can. That's what that comes from, because it's so frustrating for them. Congress, like we know, Gallaudet and so many others had issues just getting into a skiff or getting information. So they're reaching dead ends because they're not getting any kind of cooperation from agencies within, especially when it comes to SAPs. They're not. So they're just, it's almost like an act of desperation, really, when they're doing stuff like that.
Gallaudet, he talks about USOs, and I think there was something you wanted to mention about USOs.
Richard Dolan's new book. I got it yesterday. I love Richard's work. There's a lot of people out there. That's your opinions. You know, whether you agree or disagree with Richard Dolan and his work, I totally respect the man. He's quite intelligent, and yes, he is truly a UAP historian. I have not read this. I just got it. You can see it's brand new. I'm really interested to see what this is about because it goes up to 1969. It's volume 1. There are other volumes to come, but it's beginnings to 1969. I am really curious to see where he's going with this whole USO thing. So yes, maybe we'll get Rich on to discuss the book and at length more and the future books that he's going to be releasing regarding USOs. But I know that he did make the point that most of the USO reports are around Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico's been in that lore for decades about underwater bases and all that other kind of stuff. So he really gets into it. Like I said, I have not read it yet. I just got it. And this is going to be what I'm going to do. I'll just read a little bit of what's on the back. An exhaustive study of unidentified submerged objects, exploring hundreds of astonishing sightings of the unknown within Earth's waters. This is the first of 3 volumes. There's my answer. Covering the full history of humanity's darkest discoveries in the depths. So this is going to be really curious. And we know our friend, Mark D'Antonio, he was on a nuclear sub. And sonar, the officer at sonar reported to his CO, fast mover, 200 knots. And it wasn't a torpedo. So what was it? Moving that fast. It's classified to the actual speeds of the fastest underwater object that the military has. But it sure as heck is not 200 knots. So what is that? Really?
That's fast is what it is.
That's a fast mover.
Yeah.
So
they didn't call it a slow mover, so I guess you get a point.
So there are examples, and I'm sure, because I've asked Mark, would you testify? Sure, I would. He would testify at a hearing that he experienced this on a sub. Then what? Do we bring that commanding officer that he heard this, or the officer that was, are they still in the military? I mean, to collaborate and I'm sure that data or that data is gone. You know, it's gone. It's somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's not gone. It's just
it's somewhere. So, because even the story going back to the Tic Tac, we heard that helicopters flew in. You know the story, and they gobbled up all the data, and they took off and left. They took it all. They wiped it all out. We've heard that from numerous people that were involved with that. So it does not surprise me that stuff happens and it's quickly erased or taken and bye-bye, never to be heard of or seen again, period. And that's the problem, because it's now deemed classified. You ain't going to get access to it.
Not classified.
So we've got a few minutes left. So wrapping up, I want to know. I got to look into more of this Age of Disclosure, see if it's available to see anywhere, because I haven't gotten that far. It just was premiered yesterday. So, and I saw a loose tweet on X, and I'm really curious about this now. I'm gonna have to see if this is accessible, or is it just being premiered in certain locations before?
I think yesterday was just the premiere. I think they're still looking for a distributor.
Oh, okay.
Which would make sense to have it shown at South by Southwest. And I think some of the people that were in the documentary were in attendance there yesterday, so
that's cool.
Would have been an interesting place to be, but
I just hope that it's something fresh, new, informative, and that we see something that's, I would say, that makes me go, whoa, now that is different. Impressive. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I've never seen Bill impressed by anything other than the last piece of chicken at the Roswell Convention Center.
Actually, as a sidebar, excuse me, I'm impressed with my models I've been building.
They do look good. They look good.
So that does impress me, So like you said, this by the way, hopefully Roswell will happen again, but I'll make sure to corner the chicken market.
I think the bird flu's got you beat.
Oh my God. But I got to start hoping that this is going to be released, and hopefully we'll give everybody an update about where you can see the Age of Disclosure. Once we find out, Toby and I will put it out there for public so you can go check it out yourselves. I'm really looking forward to seeing it, honestly. I do.
The other interesting thing, Bill, is Steven Spielberg's filming a new UFO movie right now.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is it a doc or is it like a sci-fi fic?
It's a sci-fi. It's supposed to be like a return to like Close Encounters of the Third Kind type filmmaking. Wow. And I just saw a post online yesterday that they were looking for extras in the Hudson Valley area.
You're joking.
I am not joking.
Send that to me.
I will.
So then that makes me think it has to do with Pine Bush.
It very well could, but it's interesting that he's returning to the subject after all these years. I think was E.T. the last thing he did that was.
Well, was it? No, he did a TV series. He was involved.
Taken. That's right.
So he's been involved in other projects, but if this is Hudson Valley, that could mean anything, because we were loaded with sightings in the 80s with the triangles and everything else that was going on. That's really curious. He might be doing something regarding. I'm going to have to dig into this because I'm here. I should find out more about this. I got to talk to my connections. Yeah, I got to talk to my connections here in the Hudson Valley and see what's going on. Did you hear word of Spielberg doing something over here? Because we need to get on that or involved with it. The museum, the Pine Bush Museum everybody has to get involved with that. I'm going to have to do some digging, Toby. Thank you for giving me that tip.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. I don't know if the whole premise, the synopsis of everything, I don't think is out yet. But yeah, he's in your area somewhere filming. So.
Oh, so it's not even in the developmental stage. It's already being filmed.
Oh, no, they're filming right now. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, to close out, you said something because I know Luna's always involved, and some of the other players, Burchett. I keep getting them confused. Burchett. You said that there's some planned upcoming UAP hearings?
That's what they've been saying. They announced that new task force on, I think it's declassification and transparency. And the major things they wanted to look into were like JFK assassination, which
I saw that
first. And they said after that, then it would be UFOs. And I don't know I think the Epstein stuff's on there too. But yeah, UAP is supposed to be.
So that was Luna. Luna had to be, because she's the one that was talking about that.
Yeah, she's actually the head of that task force.
Good. Let's get it done. Let's move this ball rolling. Let's get it rolling here. Let's see more information. Hopefully everybody works together and gets this done. But I will still say there are some high-ranking officials that are connected with big money aerospace and everything else that will fight tooth and nail, regardless of party, to prevent this from happening. I'm telling you that right now because they're too close to the situation.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Well, once again, what do we say? It all comes down to money.
And I still hear rumblings about people directly connected to nuclear appearing at a hearing. Like a Robert Salas, for example.
And Mario Woods, was that the other?
He's another individual out there.
Yeah.
There's a few. But again, and I know everybody does this, who cares without evidence?
Yeah.
I mean, really, we can't. I hate to say this as we're wrapping up, but I think we both can agree that the majority of people out there that are interested in the UAP field are saying, unless something comes out with evidence and it's definitive, we're tired of this nonsense of the same old, same old. I know I'm frustrated. And I say it during every hearing, they're not going to release anything. Don't expect it. They're not going to declassify what you think you want to see. They're not going to declassify it. You might see a document redacted, like almost all in black, but it's declassified, but it's going to be redacted a lot. So I am not holding my breath, Toby. I don't know about you. I'm not holding my breath for anything imminent as far as groundbreaking evidence.
No, and that's why I encourage, the public, like we said, private collectors, private investigators into the topic, people like me that go out and do field work. If you've got something, bring it forward. Let's take a look at it.
Email him. How can they contact you?
Well, I don't have a KGRA email yet, so let's put... I'll put it in the show description. How about that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's set up an email that people can reach out to.
For me, it's easy. It's skywatcher@kgradb.com. So see how the name's on there? Skywatcher, and then at kgradb.com.
That's visual aid. I like that.
I know. It's like, if I squeeze together like this a little bit, it's like that.
There you go. Can we overlay an @ symbol somehow?
And folks that live in the cold areas, spring is coming. It's going to be beautiful up here in the Northeast and New England this week. Go enjoy it. Have a great week to everybody out there. Toby and I will be back next week. So till then, keep us in the loop. Email us if you hear anything going on. Keep us informed too, because you all are involved with this as much as we are, and I'm sure you're privy to information that you hear on a daily basis. Bring it to our attention. Email us and let us know, and we'll talk about it on the show, on a future show.
Absolutely. Look forward to hearing from everybody. And for me and Bill, that's a wrap. We'll see you guys next week.
Run.